I'm so sorry I wasn't mute. Good evening once again. Welcome to today's webinar on expense management and team and assets management. Uh, I see that there are about only 40 attendees so far. Let's take another 5 minutes to see more numbers joining, and we'll start the session. Hello all. Am I audible? All right. Let's begin the session. Firstly, I would like to start with attendance. Assets management. Okay, let me share the screen with you. hope you are able to see my screen. Oh, right, you are able to see it. Okay, let's begin with the assets management. Assets management is a very handy tool on Keika for you to manage the assets of the organization. It is a very efficient way to track track the life and life of the asset, and from employee to employee how it has been moved on. Okay, so let's go to that. Go to you. Assets management is an add-on module. It's not a part of regular subscription. So once you are subscribed for this add-on assets, you'll be able to find it in org. Go to assets, and you can see it over here. Okay, I'll zoom it for you for a better clarity. So is it properly visible now? Thank you, Ganesh. Yeah. Okay. So in org, once you're subscribed for assets management add-on, it will appear in org assets, and you'll find it in assets assignments. Okay. So first, let's go with the starting, which is about the asset setting here. Click on settings. These settings are for defining what are the statuses of the assets and what are the conditions of the assets. If you see, we have possible reasons for an asset to be in the status of not available. We have assets in the organization, but these will be useful only if they are in good conditions. And what are the conditions which say an asset is not available, though it has been defined, but it cannot be used, are the reasons being shown over here. You can customize the reasons, or else you can add your own reasons. A particular asset will be stated as not available only when it under these predefined statuses, saying that they are damaged, lost, sold, and under repair. Okay, we have an asset with certain asset ID on Keka, which was already added, but if it is not in use, then we call it as not available under these conditions. These are predefined conditions. You may use it or you may not use it. Apart from that, if you find any other reasons because of which you say that this particular asset is not available, you can define them by clicking on add reason, mention the name of the reason and description, and add it. Okay, you can also delete them as well or edit them. Okay, and other custom conditions which define what is the condition of the assets can be shown in these settings, which you see. We have three common conditions, which I say that one is fair, one is good, one is poor. Okay, these are the conditions to define what an asset is. Okay, apart from these conditions, you can also say that it is brand new, or it is in bad condition, or anything which as per your understanding, you can create the conditions of the assets. Okay, you can add the condition, name the condition, give the description, and add it. These will be added to the reports, and it will be seen while adding the assets. Okay, let me check if there are any queries. Devish, we can't hear you. It's only I can talk. If you have any concerns, Devish, you may write in the chat. Okay, you won't be able to talk. Only I will be able to. I'll be verbally communicated to you. Okay. Okay, these are about the settings, the core settings, the fundamental settings required to define the define asset statuses and conditions. Okay, once you are very clear about, you identify the conditions and the status properly, and you define them on Keka, you can go to assets categories and types. Okay, first, we have to identify in an organization what are the different categories of assets and particular organization can possess. Okay, it varies from organization to organization. Not always that all categories are applicable for all the organizations. Every organization would like to have their own categories to define what their assets are. I say there are computer hardware, I'll say, I'll define, like, if you ask my opinion, I say that there are electronics. Electronics are a categories under which there are various types of electronics. I'll say furniture. Furniture is a category, and under furniture there are various types of assets. I'll say automobiles. Automobiles is a category under which, under automobiles, there are multiple other types of assets. So while designing the assets management for your organization, you have to understand, you have to analyze and identify what are the categories you would like to define on KEKA. Okay, let us define one particular category, a few categories. Okay, let us say electronics, as I told you. Electronics is a category, furniture, IT, see, if you see on the left hand side, you'll be finding the categories, and under each category you can define various other types of assets. For examples, under electronics, I say that there can be multiple types of assets under electronics. I can say there are computer hardware. Under electronics, I'll say mobiles, mobile phones, I can say iPads, I can say um, multiple other things. Okay, let us add one by one. Laptops, which we regularly use. You can select an icon on the right hand side. um, Let us take, okay, here's the icon for laptops, and you can select a code for every asset type. You can use a suitable icon as well as the color. Okay, and description, all laptops. Okay. Now once you define the asset type, you have to be very particular. What are the attributes by which you are going to track the asset? Like in an organization, you have human resources, I mean human force, the working force. Not by their name, instead you give them a unique employee ID to recognize a particular employee, because names can be familiar. Likewise, the assets can be familiar. What differentiates a particular one asset with other asset, though they are of same type, is the unique asset ID. Okay, these are already defined, predefined attributes which are there in the system, like asset ID, asset name, description, location, purchased on, state of the asset, condition of the assets. These are fundamental, mandatory, and required attributes. Apart from these, if you feel that there are certain attributes you would like to define them and know their details, you can add those custom attributes. You can click on add attribute. Let us say, I'll say that I can give the name of the attribute as color. or field type, you can say that it is just a text box. You may define it as mandatory or non-mandatory. Okay, followed by, you can say date of purchase on it is there. You can say warranty date. Warranty date. You can select this particular attribute type as date. You can put the date, and you can say that it is mandatory. Okay, likewise you can add multiple required. You have to analyze how, what are the attributes we are going to add will be helpful to you. It's totally up to the assets manager how he would like to keep a track of all the information related to the assets. So Keka is providing you that flexibility of adding your own attributes. Okay, now click on add asset type. This has been added. So we see that electronics is a category of asset. Under electronics category, laptops is one type of asset. Likewise, you can add for let us say desktops. Choose a different color. You can add the attributes or not adding the attributes. Give them. I have added laptops, desktops, what not. You can add multiple other assets types. Okay, let's go to the furniture. If we say that we can add for chairs. Let's go with this. Likewise, once we add the categories, then we add the assets types. You can start allocating the asset list. Okay, let me check if there are any concerns. Suddenly, so in this case, all laptop IDs. Yeah, Kalai, like I see that you have a concern of adding the past history of the assets. Yes, that is possible to add it. I'll show you how it is. Okay, and Hemant, you can add any number of assets. I mean, assets categories. I mean, asset types under one category. There's no defined number right now. Okay, let's go to the modules. Okay, we have created the assets category and assets types. Let's go to the assets list. Now, once the categories and the types are recognized and they have been properly added on Keka, now it's the time to allocate the assets to the allocate them and upload the data on Keka. See, after settings, we define this and we are going to assets list where you can add one by one or you can add in bulk. If you see, it shows a message saying that no assets has been added yet. Add them here one by one. You can add one by one, like you can select the category, select asset type, put the asset ID, add ID, asset name, description. It is like a one by one process. Okay, it can be a tedious thing. Instead, if you prefer to import all the data in bulk, still you can do it. excuse me, to import the assets with the custom fields, click here. You get an option of downloading the Excel file. There we are. See here, in bulk, for all the assets categories and assets types, you can start defining their asset IDs, asset names, asset description, asset location. Let us say I'll go with asset ID, DPP001, asset name, HP desktop. You can give any description. It's just, I mean, which the asset manager feels to add, because it is for his reference that in the description he will be understanding. There are hundreds and there may be hundreds and hundreds of assets. So it is using this asset description, what he feels that with this minimum information, he will able to understand. He can add it in the asset description. Not necessarily what I am adding will be applicable. It's up to the understanding of the asset manager how he would like to describe an asset to. Okay, you can go by the color or like that as well. And this particular asset, if suppose the organization is having multiple locations, okay, so in which location it will be allocated, then you can choose for that particular location, category, electronics, asset types, desktops, purchased on. You may put the purchase date, you may put the asset condition. Is it good, bad, poor, or brand new condition? Once you have added in the asset conditions, customized one, and asset status. Yeah, this is the status. Always remember, we will be able to assign a particular asset to any employee only if it is in available condition, right? If it is not available, it means that it is either damaged, lost, under repair, or any condition. As I told you in the beginning, the asset will be in non-available condition. At what reasons? If I choose not available, then you can choose what are the reasons why it is not available. If I say that it is assigned, then it will ask you to, it will prompt you to give the employee details if it is assigned, and date of assignment, on which date it was assigned to. This is how we track we will be tracking the asset, okay, with whom it is, on which date it was assigned, and under what condition it is. Okay. Likewise, we can add all the details, all the assets. Let it be any hundreds or more. You should be able to create unique asset ID, the unique asset details, and import it. And once it is import and it is already assigned, but you are doing late on Keka, you can still say that it is an assigned state in bulk, means it is of the past data, and you can import it. That will be updated on each and every employee profile if it is in assigned conditions. If it is in not available conditions, yes, even we'll have a track of what are the asset details which are not available, and what are the reasons because of which they are not available, if they are damaged, lost, or stolen, or like that, any different condition. And if it is available, it means what are the number of assets which are still in available states, which can be allocated to the new employees or the existing employees for them to be utilized. It is using this one, we can using this bulk import, we can get it imported onto Keka. Okay. You can upload it. There it is. Earlier it was throwing an error because I have put a random employee ID number which is not existing on the system. It threw an error, but it doesn't go like that. If there are original email original employee IDs, it will definitely accept, and it will be assigned. You'll be able to see a particular asset in every employee profile. Okay, continue. Here are the details of all the assets which we are going to import. Complete. And you'll be able to see those details. Okay, so you can add one by one, add by clicking on add desktops, or you can say you can import in bulk. Okay, followed by, this is the same procedure for each and every asset type under a particular asset category. Okay, followed by assets assignment. If suppose once you have imported the assets, okay, and you will be able to see the list of all the assets which are already assigned to the employees. This is for already existing employees. If you see, this will be saying that these are the assets which are already assigned. Okay, now let us say this particular asset, I'll assign this asset. You have, see, once they are in available status, as I told you, only in available status, we will be able to assign it to an existing employees. Okay, for example, assign asset, search for an employee. Now you see that it was earlier available, now it changed to assigned. Okay, suppose if you want to recover an asset, you have given that. Suppose an employee is relieving from the organization. The asset manager should be collecting the assets. So it is from here, you can say that you can recover the asset. Who recovered the asset from the employee? It would be the asset manager. Under what condition? I have assigned this particular asset in a very good condition to the employee. After using 1 year or any few months or any few days, the condition may not be in the brand new or good state. According to the condition, you may choose the particular condition of the asset and say that it was recovered. Confirm. As soon as you recover this asset, now you'll see that this status is available. First it was available, we have assigned it to an employee, then the status changed to available, and once we are recovering the asset from the employee, again it is in the status of available, which it can be allocated to any other employee. Okay. Now suppose you have recovered the asset and discovered that it is in a non-working condition. You can mark it as mark as not available. The reason that it is not you are marking that it is not available because it is under repair or something. Make a note what are the things, just for the reference you would like to update the condition under which it is not available or under repair. You can mark it and that will be updated. So it is not available. I can't, no, when it says that it is not available, I'll not get the option that it will be assign it to an employee. I'll not get an option saying that it can be assigned it to any particular employee. So what I should say first, I have to update the status saying that it is available. Only then I will now get the option of assign asset. When it was in non-available state, it said that it did not display this option of assign asset because it is not available. It is not in the usable condition. Suppose the asset was not in a usable condition, for it is available but it was not in a but it was not assigned to anyone, and drastically the life of that particular asset has depleted. In such cases, though it is in available condition and since it was not used and the life has depleted, you can update the condition saying that it is in a poor condition. There are certain assets whose life will go down if we not use properly. Okay, you can update the conditions as well. If you want to edit the asset details, suppose if you want to make certain changes, you can still make the changes in the asset details here. Okay, and after making those changes, you can see if I want to make the changes in the asset IDs or conditions, then still you can make the changes and update the asset. Followed by, if you want to delete the asset, you may. And one more thing, since this particular asset is in available state, you're getting this option of delete asset. Okay. If it is already assigned to any particular employee, then I will not get the option of deleting it. For example, now if I want to delete the asset, I'm unable to delete it because it is already assigned to an employee. It is neither available nor it is marked as not available, means it is damaged or something like that. So I can't delete an asset from the repository. So when a particular asset is assigned to a particular employee, then you don't have an option of deleting it or marking it as not available. Okay, so you have to recover the asset from the employee, and then you can change the status as not available or delete. Okay, this is about the assignments, the asset assignments. You can do you can add one by one, or you can import them in bulk, and later you can assign it to the employees. Okay, follow. So if I say in the previous case, I said that this was assigned to a particular employee called so and so, and you'll see all his details in assets management here. Who all employees who are having these who are assigned with any particular asset, you can see the list of all the assets in this asset assignment, followed by you can filter out with statuses of the employee, whether active, in notice period, or so, and take an action. You'll be prepared to make any actions for asset recovery or like that. Okay, these are about the assets assignment, and you can find certain reports, all assets in each type, a list of all assets, followed by all assets, recovered assets. These are the current 3 reports we are having on KCOM. Okay. Let's go to the expense and travels module. Yes, even this is also very, very widely used and much proved required tool on for an employee or the organization to track the expenses and reimbursements for any employee if they have incurred on official purposes. Okay. In org, again, you find this expense and travel. Firstly, you have to go to the policies and settings. Go to currency conversions. Suppose if there are foreign exchanges, or if you are having employees in different locations within the country or outside of the country, and if you want to make any exchanges, then you can go with this currency conversion. Okay. And you can make the transactions, followed by expense and travel categories. In the organization, you have to recognize or identify what are all the for which expenses an employee can claim for a reimbursement. It's not that always for each and everything that he will be getting a reimbursement. It's not like that. If genuinely if an employee is expending some amount on a particular expense, and you believe that it is worth of giving a reimbursement, you can create all those categories under expense and travel categories. You can define multiple things. It can be food claims, it can be team lunches, it can be client expenses, it can be travel expenses, it can be anything. It varies from organization to organization, and you have to identify what are the categories which are eligible for getting a reimbursement for. Okay, for example, I have few examples. Let us say food claims, local travel. Okay, so let me add an expense category. Click on add expense category. I'll say that team dinner, or else, okay, you can go for selecting an icon. You can put a code, let us say TD. TD. See, these codes will appear in the reports. This is for your recognition, for recognizing purposes. Okay, easy recognizing purposes. Usage type. Now here the usage type would be general. General in the sense it can be anything. You expended the amount, you'll get the you produce the bills, you'll get the amount. Okay, there's no specific explanation for general purposes. If I say that mileage, if you are traveling for a particular expense category, let us say travel, local conveyance, national travels, international travels, anything like that. If I say that, I'll not give whatever the amount you produce by bills or tickets or like that. Instead, I'll say that from a particular distance, how many kilometers you have traveled via, if you get in the tickets, I'll say that per kilometer, I'll give you this much amount. So you may travel on a luxury class or business class or a low class, whatever it is. My rate, the organization's rate of issuing you the reimbursement would be 10 rupees per kilometer, 15 rupees, whatever the amount per kilometer. That is nothing but mileage. You can decide the expense reimbursement based on mileage as well. Okay, per diem. It is nothing but per day, irrespective how much ever you have incurred, more or less. I don't, it doesn't matter, but I'll say that per day, this is my budget. I will give to the employee for reimbursement. Travels or accommodations. Travels one again the same. Accommodation is only for is used when accommodation is used when you have a stay at hotels, motels, or like that. Local conveyance, it is within the city. If you travel, you can use this type of usage type and claim the reimbursement. Okay, if I say that it is general and save the expense category, I can set up the rules. Okay, I have defined. See, these are the categories. Like in assets, we have also said there are asset types under asset categories. These are expense categories under expense policies. Okay, so first you will analyze what are all the expense categories. You will be able to you will be giving it to employees, and you will assign it to a particular policy. And these policies may vary from employee level to employee designation to employee designations. One particular designation, a set of level 1 to level 3 may have a common set of expense policies and common amounts of expense reimbursements. The other level or other category, other band can have a different amounts of reimbursements. Like that you can define however you want to create a policy based upon designations or levels or number of categories assigned to a particular policy. You can customize it as you want. Okay, let's go and create expense policy first. I'll click on add expense policy. You can go by the currencies rates. Okay, I'll go with Indian rupee. Okay, I'm defining based on the designations or levels. Okay, all employees to claim for future date. See, allow employees to claim for future date. If you are preparing for future project or something, like you will be going somewhere and you expect that, you analyze that these are the expenses it can happen, you can allow saying that for future date, these are the amounts I'm assuming, and you may give me the money in advance and I will produce you the bills. Please read this. If this option is selected, employees will be able to raise expense for future date. This won't impact the advance request already submitted. Okay, and any particular expense may go for an approval, and who will be approving it is up to you. You can choose from the given levels. The reporting manager, L2 manager, business head, department head, whoever it can be, you can choose. You can add one level or multiple levels if so. Okay, notify all previous approvers if request is rejected. Different approval chains when claim amount exceeds certain amount. Okay, you can choose it, you can take a decision, and expense policy is created now. In this particular expense policy, you can add multiple categories. What all categories are applicable for these expense policy, which is associates for L2 and L3, and what are the amounts? Okay, advance requests. I say that I'll be going to a particular project to a client location, and I expect that this much amount may be on an approximate basis. A particular amount will be expected to be incurred on my travel, accommodation, food, and these things. I can raise an advance request here. If I say that allow employees to request for cash advances and travel bookings, I can do that. Claims are to be submitted within so and so number of days. Let us say 15 days from the date on which they have received the advance. Save it. They can request for a cash advance, and set up rules requires commands for requesting any advance amount. Here, since it is an advance thing, you may not require documents proof right away. So you'll say that you'll put the comments and say that it requires comments even if it is exceeding 0 rupees. Let us say save rules. These are the conditions for cash advance, followed by what are the other categories you are going to add. Have created local conveyance, I created food claims, I created team dinner. Let me say I'll add these all categories. I can set up these rules for this particular policy. I'm emphasizing again and again for this policy because the expense policies may vary from designation to designations. Again, it is up to the organization. Okay, so based upon particular policy type, you will be deciding what are the rules they should have, what are the amounts you are going to, what is the maximum reimbursement amount you will be giving it to an employee. Okay, for claims, I'll say limit the expense to certain, let us say 2000 per month. You can say that it is per month, this is the maximum amount I can give it, or else per day I can say that I'll be giving you this much amount. Limit number of expenses to certain instances in a calendar month. I'll say that any number of times I'll not let an employee apply. I'll say that maximum there are 3 instances which he can go in a month. I'll say there are instances where you will restrict a particular expense category, saying that this is a food claim, right? I'll say that I can restrict a maximum number of instances to 3. In a day, I cannot say I can provide six number of bills for 6 different instances. I'll limit it to only 3 maximum, like that. Mark as expired if submitted beyond certain number of days, or else let us say not. Okay, requires comment if the amount is exceeding 0 numbers. Requires, this is up to the expense manager who says whether he would require any proofs or not. I'll save the rules. Likewise, you can go with the local conveyance. I'll say that 1500, 3000 per month. I'll say 500 per day. Okay, here we have set up the rules and we have to assign it to the employees. As soon as this particular expense policy is assigned to any employee, you will be able to see it in the employees list here. Okay, you can individually go to employees profile and assign a particular policy. Let us say I'll add it to one particular employee. You can go to his profile, go to job. You can add it from his job details, which is expense policy. You can set, you can assign it, you can choose it. Okay. Okay. Now, as soon as I updated it, assigned it, you'll be able to see it in employees. See, this particular employee is assigned with this particular policy, expense policy. Okay, now, or else let us say even for Chetan. If you see, there are two employees now. Okay. Now, this is about assigning employees, assigning the expense policies one by one. You can also do it in bulk by clicking on org. You have import employee job details. You can download that Excel sheet. There will be a field called expense policy. In that Excel sheet, there will be all the expense policies which you have created. You can select it and assign it to each and every employee if applicable and import in bulk. Okay. It is from import employee job details. Okay. Followed by how an employee can claim for can claim for expenses. You can go to me, you have expense and travel. You can request for an asset. I'll say you can request for an expense. Sorry. Mm, I can click on add expense. I'll say that food claims for a certain project or anything I have gone for and expense title. You expense date, let us say some particular random date, Indian rupees amount, let us say 1500, bill number, merchant name. You can upload the receipts. Okay, once it is uploaded, you will be able to view it on the right hand side. If it is only one expense, fine. Or else if there are multiple expenses, you can click on update and add it. Just you have update expense option, update and add another option. Okay, so it's not necessary that only food is the only category that I'll be expending on and I'll be requesting for a reimbursement. It can be travel as well as multiple other expenses in that one particular project. So you can add multiple things and submit for a claim. Okay, you can submit it. $500 per day. Okay, I have an error message. It says that a maximum amount of 500 will be applicable. Okay, followed by date expense. And now I can submit my claim. Submit. It will be gone to the reporting manager for approval. As soon as it is approved, you can take an action. See, I have submitted it. I have an option of approving it now. Whether it is yet to be paid or it is already paid, on what day if it is already paid, if so by cash, or else if you want to include in the payroll or outside of the payroll, you can select it and approve it. So if you are saying in the payroll with pay cycle, the first pending cycle, and approve it, it will be processed along with the salary in the payroll. If it is chosen as outside of the payroll, it means that you can give it by cash or check offline. Okay, these are about the asset procedure on KK. So if it is in pending approval, it is in pending approval. Pending payments you'll be seeing, because since I said that it is through payroll, once the payroll is completed, this pending payment will be gone and it will be moved to past expenses. So you also have, you can change the pay cycle. I mean, or else mark as paid or settled if you have made the offline payments, even though while selecting that it was the payment method chosen as within KK in payroll, like that. Or else if you in and last moment, if you make some changes, if you change your mind, you can click on reject as well. Okay, you will be able to see the past expenses. You can select by date ranges. This is all about assets, and also you'll find certain reports here. But there are 6 reports: category reports, claim breakup, expense claims, project-wise expenses, cost-wise expenses, and so on. Okay. Yeah, please let me know if you have any doubts. I think my friend Mr. Bhargav is trying hard to answer your queries over the chat. Any more questions, please? Approval manager or accounts, can approval manager? Yeah, on so one of our members were one of our client members were asking about currency converter. In the sense, your currency converter, suppose I'll tell you, you have gone for some international projects outside of the country to different countries. There, if you have expended certain amounts in that particular currency, then and if you submit those bills in those currencies, you can claim it in different, I mean, in our currency or like that, by while submitting the expense. Like while saying that, I'll click on add expense and I'll select the currency. That depends upon what all currencies we have added in the settings while making the settings. Okay, add a conversion. The first one would be Indian rupee. The second one, in which particular currency which you are expending the amount, the currency conversion will happen as of those dates. If you see this. Okay, and you can add this currency, and as per the market or stats, it will happen accordingly. Okay. Further questions? Does every Surendra was asking, can you reject a particular expense from expenses? Yes, you will. If there are multiple expenses submitted, and if you find that one of the expenses is not worth to be reimbursed, then you have that option of rejecting that only one particular expense from the list. Can we assign different currency profile to a single employee? Assign different currency profile. Not for one employee, it would be applicable for that particular policy. Can approval manager or accounts reject particular claim from? Yes, this can be done. How to add project cost centers. Project cost centers. That's a different topic, Ramya. It is not related to the expense policy. How to see the approval chain of expense, like who approve claim in case of multiple chains. How to see the approval chain. So if there are multiple approvers in a chain, you will be only seeing if one of the two or three approvers are there. If only one particular person has approved it, it will show as partially approved, not fully approved. Okay, if there is only one person in the approver chain and he has approved it, the status will be shown as approved. If it is pending, it is pending. Or else, if it is only one of the few people have approved in the approved for a particular expense, and it will show as partially approved. Okay, depend. You're asking that in case fully approved, need to see on which date who approved. Those you can find it from the expense reports. Depend. So, dear members, we would love to help you out, but I would request you to please reach out to support@kk.com for all your concerns. We would definitely love to help each and every concern of it. So just drop us your messages because time constraint is there. So I'm hurrying up. So please drop all your queries to support@kk.com. And also, I would request you to once go through the document which we have shared so that a few of the other concerns may be resolved, or else if you find if you come out with new questions also, you are most welcome to submit the questions to uh, support@kk.com. All right, thanks for your time. Have a pleasant evening. Bye bye.